Hi, everyone. Happy New Year's. Thanks for letting us be part of your very special celebration this year. We're super excited to put this menu together for you. We've got our favorite products, and it's going to be a beautiful night. And just thanks for ordering. Thanks for letting us be part. Um, so I want to jump ahead and let you know what I've done because I don't want the video to take all night because you guys have some celebrating to do. So 20 minutes in the oven needs the broccoli rabe, tossed in olive oil, salt, and pepper, and then the pomme dauphinoise, beautiful, rich, potatoy deliciousness. So I've just put that in a couple minutes ago. Let them get a head start. And then we're going to start on, we're going to move to the main courses at this point. So I want to show you how to do both the steak dish and the lobster dish. The lobster comes in tin foil, super easy, and it's got the beautiful salsa verde butter right in there. So you're going to just take the saran wrap off the top, but leave the tin foil there. Put it on a baking sheet, and that goes in the oven for 10 minutes. Super, super easy. But remember, when you're pulling it out, make sure to get all that delicious butter and lobster juice and pour it over top afterwards. The steak requires a little bit more, so we're going to sear it in just a minute. But I've got my demi-glaze in a pan, in a pot, just simmering away. And then the next thing we're going to do is put our creamed leeks in a pot as well. As beautiful as this meal is, it really doesn't require very much on the finishing side. Okay, that goes in there. And just keep it on low. I'm going to put it on number 3 for my induction and let it go. And so while that's happening, we're going to plate the gorgeous foie gras appetizer. But first, let's say cheers. Mm. Connor has chosen this beautiful sparkling Vouvray Brut to get things started. And I've got a special place in my heart for Vouvray. My wife and I went there on our honeymoon. She did some schooling there in Tours, just outside of Vouvray. It's the most beautiful area, untouched, same 500 person population that has been around for 100 years. And they make such gorgeous wine based on the Chenin Blanc grape. And so we've got 2 sparklings for those of you who chose it this week. So we've got the Vouvray, and then we've got this Denis from Raventos. And this is just north of Barcelona. I visited there a couple of years ago, and they make the best sparkling wine in Spain, hands down. They're the ones who actually came up with cava like 400 years ago. And now they've come up with their own appellation, which I'm not going to try to pronounce because it's very specific and I don't want to butcher it. Needless to say, it's delicious, and we're going to talk about that in a second. But first, let's get going on our foie gras. So the brioche that comes with it needs to go in the oven for about 4 minutes just to warm up. But in the meantime, we're going to take the foie gras out, and it comes wrapped in some cellophane. So you're just going to need to peel that off, and don't forget to temper it. Bring it up to room temperature when you do this, because otherwise it doesn't taste as good. And if you have a pastry spatula, then please use that. And foie gras is great. It's almost like plasticine where you can just sort of mold it back. So if you get some fingerprints on there, no problem whatsoever. So my wife is saying, hold it up. So there's the log that you will be getting later this afternoon. So just peel it off nicely. And again, it's just like plasticine. So if you get some fingerprints on there, don't worry about it. You can just smooth it back over, just like that. And you're going to need this pastry spatula for later. But don't let it go to waste, because foie gras is amazing. Just wash this up, because we're going to need it for some dessert. Now, I don't do this in our kitchens of work or anything, but we're at home, and that's my wife telling me that you can't see me. But I promise you that's a wide shot. We're good. So we've got 3 beautiful garnishes in addition to the brioche tonight. So we've got Amarena cherries, one of my favorite things in the entire world. Then we've got an apple butter. And then we've got, or quince butter, excuse me, and some crushed almonds. So we're gonna put those right on the plate. And you're gonna just be able to mix it around like any type of charcuterie. So just divide it out evenly. cherries. And I'm going to come back for that sauce in just a second after I'm done. So lots of spoons maybe that we're using tonight. Don't forget to leave some room for the brioche, which also needs to go on the plate. So I like to do the little chef swoosh for those of you who have tuned in before. I hope most of you who have ordered tonight have been with us before, because you get to see progressions on special evenings. So we're done with the quince butter. Let's put that over there. How are we doing? We're doing well on that. I'm going to start working on our steak pan because it needs 5 minutes in the oven, 90 seconds on each side, and then 5 minutes to rest. Very important. Okay. So then let's put some of these almonds on there. Okay. Very, very, very important. Some coarse sea salt and quite a bit of it, because foie gras doesn't taste great without some salt on it. And a little cracked pepper, just enough to give it some color on top. Man, the chefs have outdone themselves tonight. This looks beautiful. Okay, and the brioche is going to go there. And let's see if we can get some of this Amarena cherry juice around, because it's such a gorgeous color. It's almost like reduced balsamic vinegar. All right. A little paper towel to clean up. Now I know what chefs feel like when somebody moves their mise en place, because I'm used to having everything in its place, and it was a busy day today and I forgot to put everything just back right. So as soon as I put the brioche on there, then we'll show you the finished picture. In the meantime, steak pan is nice and hot. So we've got our strip loin here. So 90 seconds on each side. Now, this has already been done sous vide to rare, so you really don't have to cook it all that much. I like to give it a little extra seasoning on there on each side. So sear it, flip it over after 90 seconds. Demi-glaze is there. Let's see how our cream leeks are going. Give it a little stir. Want to warm it up nicely. I'm going to go up a little bit. There we go. Okay, and now lobster is going straight in the oven like that. I put it on a baking sheet just to make it easier to get in and out, and especially in case some of the lobster juice and butter leaks out, you don't want to miss it. All right, some tongs there, and you want to get your butter, your special salsa verde butter nearby, because you're going to need it in the pan, and a nice spoon as well, which I already have right here. Great. Some of these along, and let's get to our next sparkling wine. So I'm going to show you the great way to open up sparkling wine so that you don't poke anyone's eye out. So just find the little turning cage part and dig it through, and then you can take the foil off. But don't start twisting yet. Get rid of the foil first. Put your thumb on top. Very important. Hold it down so it doesn't fly off. Undo it all. And then with one hand on top, one hand on the bottom, just gently let it come out until it hisses. You don't need a big pop unless you just won a Formula One race, which is my son's fantasy. Okay. This is nice. Okay, so we're going to sear the steak on both sides. And actually, you know what? You can even do 6 sides if you want a little extra sear. And just don't forget to take a little bit of time off in the oven if you like extra sear like I do. Don't forget to season every side. That's great. All right, so we're at the 7-minute mark left for veg. So I'm gonna put the brioche in for 4 minutes and let that warm up. And I'm gonna pour some of this deliciousness. So if you chose the Denis, you were in for a treat. So now there's a champagne glass and there is a wine glass, Sauvignon Blanc white wine glass. I actually like my bubbles better in this, and there's been a real trend towards this over the last few years. That tastes amazing. Just bright and yeasty and delicious cherry and just tart cranberry. It's just blowing up. It's really nice stuff. You're gonna love this one. So again, I'm gonna sear all the sides here before putting that in the oven. Hopefully we don't smoke out the place. Let's put the fan on just for a second, and then it'll go away once I get this thing in the oven. So I'm going to put the steak in just for 4 minutes in order to, because I cooked it a little longer than the chef said in the pan. So I think we're good. So this is the part. I don't know, make sure I got the instructions correctly, because turn the pan off, drain off the oil, and add your salsa verde butter. Well, there's actually very little oil in this, Rich, so I'm not going to drain it off, but I am going to baste this. So the butter will melt very quickly. And this is what it is about basting. Oh, glorious. Okay, now put that bad boy in the oven. Oh, look, there's so many things in the oven, it's not funny. We're gonna have to move something around here. Didn't even know my oven could do this. It's a new oven. Put that on the same. Okay, how are our veggies doing? Beautiful. A couple more minutes on that. The brioche is about to come out. So let's work on the dessert then. So you see I'm grabbing it from the fridge. Very important to keep it cold until you're ready to plate it. So we've got a dark chocolate terrine with yuzu curd and cocoa nib crunch. The yuzu curd is the bright stuff. Yuzu is a Japanese tree fruit, and it has a very particular sweet and tangy combo. So this is where that pastry spatula comes in very handy. Okay. All right. Move it over here so you can see the plating. Have another sip of wine. That makes my wife happy. She just gave me a little smile. Thank you, Maureen. So our yuzu curd will go around. We're going to try a couple different versions of this. One on top and one around. You guys play around with the plating and see what you like. Put a little too much on this one. That's why you make things up as cooks. If I was a baker, I couldn't make things up because everything has to be so precise. This is why I prefer cooking to baking. All right, and then the cocoa nib crumble. And I know what you're thinking. 4 minutes is almost up. You got to go get the brioche from the oven. You're absolutely right. It's so funny. I thought one would be the winner, and it turns out is going to be the other one. This is great stuff, so you might as well use a lot of it. Okay. Come on, brioche. Get rid of that stuff. Get rid of some of these bottles, which I'm going to talk about in a second, so you can see the cutting. I'm going to suggest probably 4 pieces per loaf. And brioche is just bread with like the greatest amount of butter in it. Oh, man, am I looking forward to this. My son is going to lose his mind. Foie gras is one of his favorite things in the world. Okay, so here's our beautiful foie gras torchon with the Amarena cherries and the quince butter, toasted almonds, and the warm brioche. All right, get that out of the way. We got the desserts. Clean up the sides. That's looking good. Oh yeah, I promised to get rid of this hood fan. There we go. Cream leeks. Nice and warm, looking good. 48 seconds left. So next up, we got to rest the steak. There we go. Whew, that's a little warm. And put that in there. Lobster's almost ready to go. Veg is almost ready to go. But we got 5 minutes on the steak. I might have to rush it just to keep the video tight. But don't you worry. You rest the steak 5 minutes. All right, I want to talk about this red wine. This has been one of my favorites since we opened back 17 years ago. So this is the Graceland Cabernet from Stellenbosch, South Africa. Now, funny thing about this wine is that it was named Graceland because the owner loves Elvis. He's the biggest Elvis fan. And there is so much deliciousness in this glass. Juicy, big, rich, meaty, minerally. Really good. And here's the best part. So this label actually got banned in New Jersey as being explicit or pornographic. It is a picture of the 3 Graces by Raphael, one of the classic Italian masters. And they just said in New Jersey, because you know how upstanding everyone is there. You know, they don't like to gamble or do any of that kind of stuff. They said, you know, not for us. That's okay. We're happy to take extra in Ontario. Thank you, New Jersey. You guys are going to love this with the steak. All right. Let's get started on the plating. All right, let's go with the veg first. So the pomme dauphinoise, decadent and delicious. Let's see how we're going to do this. So you're going to divide this equally. One pan does 2 people. Cheesy goodness. Buttery cheesy goodness. Make sure to get some of that sauce all over there. We need to have decadent experiences right now when the world is just upside down and we don't have a chance to connect with all the people that we want to. And so to be able to have a meal like this at home and have you guys tuning in, it's very gratifying. All right, next up, broccolini. And again, I've already seasoned it nicely with salt and pepper. It really needs lots of salt because it's quite a bitter veg, so let's throw a little extra on top. Okay, done. Sorry about the banging. Okay, cream leeks next. Again, 1 container for 2 people. There we are. I can go back over there and turn that guy off so it doesn't beep at me. And cancel upper. So the steak is still resting. So I'm going to pull the lobster out and see what kind of surprise is in store. So we've already cooked the lobster. We've already steamed it for you. And so you're basically just melting the butter and warming it up again. So I'm already seeing lots of the butter coming out. Oh, man, does this look good. Chefs and I were trying to figure out how we're going to plate this, so have you see it. It's a lot of food. Okay, very important. Take your lobster butter, salsa verde butter with the lobster juice. Get it all in there. You don't want to miss out on any of this. Delicious. All right. So that is our glorious New Year's Eve lobster with broccoli rabe, the creamed leeks, and the pomme dauphinoise. And then finally, we go for the steak. Don't forget about your sauce too. Okay, let me move some glasses so you can see. And really, actually, because the strip loin is so glorious and tender, you don't even need to slice it. I was going to slice it, and then I'm like, what am I doing here? You don't need to do that. And now, we have our beautiful red wine bordelaise sauce, which is a demi-glaze with a bunch of red wine. So on top and all around the plate. I'm getting a little teary here. This is the last meal kit of the year. But I just want to say thank you very much for being part of this with us. There's our strip loin with the demi-glaze and all the things I just talked about before. You don't need to hear it again. I'm just very grateful. I hope you have a wonderful New Year's Eve, and it leads into an amazing 2021. We're going to get through this pandemic. We're going to have some fun together, and I can't wait to see you all in person in one of the restaurants soon. Give you a big hug, and celebrate in person again. Cheers. Happy New Year.